Giggle Gauge, Giggle Gauge.
Think you've heard it all? Let's find out. Welcome to Giggle Gauge, where we put jokes through the ultimate laugh test. Subscribe for more. First joke. On a flight across the country, the president turned to his staff and said, "I should throw a $100 bill out the window and make someone's day." One of his aides smirked and said, "Why stop at one? Throw out 20 of them and make 20 people happy." Another staffer chimed in, "Or better yet, toss out 100 and make 100 people happy." The flight attendant, overhearing the conversation, leaned in and said, "Or you could just jump out and make half the country happy." Second joke. A husband and wife were Christmas shopping at a packed mall. The wife turned around and noticed her husband had disappeared. Annoyed, she pulled out her phone and called him. "Where did you go? We have so much to do." In a quiet voice, the husband said, "Do you remember that jewelry store we went into 5 years ago? The one where you fell in love with that diamond necklace we couldn't afford? And I promised you that one day I'd buy it for you?" Her eyes welled up with tears. "Yes," she whispered. "Well," he said, "I'm in the pub next door." Third joke. A boss noticed that his secretary wasn't wearing any knickers at work, so he decided to have a little fun. He said to her, "I'll make this quick. I'll toss $1,000 on the floor, and by the time you bend down to pick it up, I'll be done." She thought about it for a second, then called her boyfriend and shared the story. Her boyfriend replied, "Go for it, but ask for $2,000. Pick up the money fast, and he won't even have time to take his clothes off." She agreed, and half an hour later, her boyfriend called to check in. "What happened?" he asked. She grumbled, "That jerk used coins. I'm still picking them up, and he's still going strong." Fourth joke. A struggling artist stopped by the gallery where his paintings were on display. The owner had both good news and bad news. "The good news is someone came in today and bought every single one of your pieces," the owner said. "They just wanted my guarantee that they'd be worth double if you, well, weren't around anymore. I told him your work would skyrocket in value." The artist's eyes widened. "That's incredible. So what's the bad news?" The owner sighed. "The guy was your doctor." Fifth joke. A store manager noticed a heated argument between a customer and one of his employees. After the customer stormed out, the manager approached the salesperson. "I saw what happened," he said. "I hope you remember our policy. The customer is always right." The employee nodded. "I know, but..." "No buts," the manager interrupted. "The customer is always right." The employee shrugged. "All right, but he called you an idiot." Sixth joke. A man called home from work and said to his wife, "Something came up. My boss invited me on a last-minute fishing trip this weekend. Can you pack my bag with some clothes, my fishing gear, and my blue silk pajamas? I'll swing by in an hour to grab them." He rushed home, grabbed everything, and headed off. When he returned Sunday night, his wife asked, "So, how was the trip?" "Great. I really impressed my boss," he said. "But you forgot to pack my blue silk pajamas." His wife smirked. "Oh, I didn't forget. I put them in your tackle box." Seventh joke. Jack walked into the bar sporting a fresh black eye. His friends immediately noticed. "What happened to you?" one of them asked. "I got it playing golf," Jack mumbled. His buddies laughed. "A golf ball hit you in the eye?" Jack shook his head. "No, it was a club." They leaned in, waiting for the story. "Well, I hit a bad shot, and my ball landed in a cow pasture. While I was searching for it, I saw a lady golfer also looking for her lost ball. I found mine quickly, but then I noticed one of the cows flipping its tail frantically. So I lifted the cow's tail, saw a golf ball stuck there, and called her over. Jack took a deep breath. I raised the tail and said, "This looks like yours." And that's when she hit me with her club. Eighth joke. An Englishman, a Scotsman, and an Arab were chatting about their families. The Englishman smiled and said, "I've got 10 kids. One more, and I'll have my own football team." The Scotsman chuckled. "I have 14. Just one more, and I'll have a rugby squad." The Arab grinned. "I have 17 wives." He took a sip of his drink and added, "One more, and I'll have my own golf course." Ninth joke. An Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman walked into a bar and each ordered a pint of beer. When the drinks arrived, all 3 pints had a fly floating on top. The Englishman frowned, pushed his drink away, and said, "Disgusting." The Irishman calmly picked the fly out, flicked it onto the floor, and drank his beer. The Scotsman, however, snatched the fly, held it over his pint, and shook it aggressively while yelling, "Spit it out, you wee thief!" 10th joke. A man walked into a bar and sat next to a guy who was staring at something in his hand. The drunk guy squinted at the object, turning it over and over. After a few minutes, the man's curiosity got the best of him. "What do you have there?" The drunk slurred. "It's weird. Looks like plastic, but feels like rubber." The man took the object and rolled it between his fingers. "Huh, you're right. Where'd you get this?" The drunk took a slow sip of his drink and said, "My nose." That was the last joke. Some were hilarious, some questionable. But how do they actually score? Let's find out. First joke. The president throwing money. This one builds well, with each person escalating the idea until the final punchline takes a brutal turn. It's got that political humor edge, which some people love. I'd say a 7.5 out of 10. Funny, but you kinda see where it's going. Second joke. Christmas shopping trick. At first, it seems like it's setting up for a sweet, romantic moment. And then, bam, the guy completely fakes her out. That contrast between expectation and reality makes it land well. I'd rate it a 9 out of 10. The twist is just too good. Third joke. The boss and the secretary. This joke is straight up ruthless. The setup makes you think the secretary has the upper hand, but the twist completely flips it. It's unexpected, kinda mean, but definitely funny. I'd give it an 8 out of 10, a solid laugh with a dark edge. Fourth joke. The struggling artist and the doctor. This one leans into dark humor, which always works when done right. The irony of the doctor being the buyer adds a little extra sting. I'd say an 8.5 out of 10. It's clever, sharp, and kinda messed up in the best way. Fifth joke. The store manager and the salesperson. Classic miscommunication joke, but what makes it work is the pacing. The final punchline is a perfect reversal. I'd give it an 8 out of 10, simple but effective. Sixth joke. The fishing trip and the pajamas. It's a great example of a joke where the humor comes from a misunderstanding. The wife's clever response really seals it. I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10, funny, but not as strong as some of the others. Seventh joke. The golf club incident. This one builds well, and the punchline is hilarious because of how ridiculous it is. It's visual, it's unexpected, and you can just picture the moment happening. I'd rate it an 8.5 out of 10, definitely a highlight in this batch. Eighth joke. The kids versus sports teams comparison. Quick and effective. The humor comes from the final contrast between the first 2 examples and the last one. I'd give it an 8 out of 10, simple but solid. Ninth joke. The fly in the beer. This joke is classic bar humor, and the Scottish guy's reaction takes it up a notch. It's short, visual, and relatable. 9 out of 10, easily one of the funniest here. 10th joke. The drunk and the mystery object. A bit gross, but that's exactly what makes it work. The build-up makes you curious, and the reveal is just nasty enough to be hilarious. 7.5 out of 10. Not for everyone, but still funny. Overall, a really strong set of jokes. Some great twists, a few dark humor gems, and solid punchlines all around. Which joke made you laugh the most? Drop a comment below, and hit that subscribe button for more laughs.